The Colombian Senate began debates on the motion of censure against Defense Minister Diego Molano this Monday for his role in the violent state repression of anti-government protesters. Haiti's government imposed a nightly curfew and other restrictions on Monday under an 8-day health emergency meant to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Israeli police have launched an operation of mass arrest of Palestinian citizens following 2 weeks of protests against Israeli settlement policies in occupied East Jerusalem and the bombardment of the Gaza Strip. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm Gladys Quesada. The Colombian Senate began debates on the motion of censure against Defense Minister Diego Molano this Monday. The minister faces a difficult week as another similar petition is set to be discussed in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Molano is charged with responsibility for the violent excess and human rights violations by security forces against the ongoing protests, which have left more than 40 dead, according to the prosecutor's office, while hundreds have been injured, in addition to the international denunciations of sexual abuse, disappearances, and torture. Following the Senate debate, a vote will be held on the motion next week, which could see the minister removed from his post. Colombian President Ivan Duque has appointed current Deputy Minister of Agriculture Juan Camilo Restrepo Gómez as his government's High Commissioner for Peace. This appointment comes after the resignation of Miguel Ceballos, in charge of the recent failed negotiations between the Duque government and the National Strike Committee. Ceballos cited personal reasons for his decision, including the calls for his conscience. Since the beginning of the current crisis, Duque has replaced 3 ministers, and the loss of the High Commissioner has added to his administration's perceived weakness. Meanwhile, it should be recalled that Juan Camilo Restrepo Gómez opposed the 2016 peace accords with the former FARC guerrillas. And staying in Colombia, the National Strike Committee has called for sit-ins to be held throughout the country, despite the violent crackdown by state security forces. The committee announced nationwide sit-ins starting this Monday and running through Tuesday against the neoliberal policies of the government headed by President Ivan Duque and in support of the motions of censure to be debated by the Senate and House of Representatives against the defense minister. Demonstrations in the country's regional capitals are also scheduled for Wednesday in order to mobilize people across the different municipalities of each department to call for negotiations with the government. Colombian human rights organizations have revealed several locations that are believed to have been used by agents of the mobile anti-riot squadron to detain, torture, and force the disappearance of protesters in the city of Cali. The organizations denounced that Cali's Municipal Administrative Center was used by the police as a secret operations center. According to the information, since May the 30th, the police have been detaining demonstrators in the facility's basements, where they have been tortured and even killed, with their bodies taken out in vans hours later. A report noticed that the bodies were transported to Mulalo municipality to be dumped in a mass grave. The organizations also received complaints about the existence of mass graves in rural areas of the municipalities of Buga and Yumbo. The organizations urged the government, the Institute of Forensic Medicine, and the Missing Persons Search Unit to initiate an investigation into the events immediately, recalling that at least 150 people have disappeared in the city since April 28th. And now we move on to other topics. Guillermo Lasso took office as President of Ecuador this Monday after being elected on April 11th. The inauguration ceremony took place in the National Assembly. Lasso replaces Lenín Moreno as president, who has heavily criticized during his term in office for the neoliberal measures implemented, including a return to huge debt with the IMF and the violent repression of protesters against his government by the security forces. 90% of the population condemned his handling of the COVID-19 epidemic. Lasso is expected to follow a similar policy. Only a few presidents attended to the ceremony. And Peruvian authorities confirmed the murder of at least 14 people in a remote mountainous region. The killings took place in a community in Valle de los Ríos Apurimac, Ene y Mantaro, a region of the Peruvian Amazon. The Joint Command of the Armed Forces blamed the Shining Path movement, which employed guerrilla tactics against the government in the 1980s and 90s. The massacre came just over 2 weeks before the presidential election. The authorities claim that terrorist remnants operate in the region, mainly dedicated to activities related to drug trafficking. And we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away.
It is our duty to reverse the damage we cause to the planet. Let's recover our natural ecosystems with actions in defense of the environment. Let's keep fighting for a greener world. Wednesdays, only on teleSUR. Every year, thousands of people leave their homeland to reach new horizons. A reality of those people who struggle for their freedom. Know the diverse causes of those who live between borders. Thursdays, only on teleSUR.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Sean todos muy bienvenidos a Vidas. Hay lugares donde el arte se unifica con el orgullo de los pueblos. Y esos lugares están llenos de colores, alegría, pasión, tradiciones, arraigo, valor y entrega.
Real Life. Fridays. Only on teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. Haiti's government imposed a nightly curfew and other restrictions on Monday under an 8-day health emergency meant to curb the spread of the coronavirus. All outdoor activity will be banned from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. under the decree issued by President Jovenel Moïse. The decree also makes the use of face masks mandatory in public, while temperature checks and hand-washing stations are required for all public or private buildings, such as banks, schools, hospitals, and markets. Social distancing in public places is set at 1.5 meters. The president also ordered public institutions to reduce on-duty staff by 50%, while he encouraged other employees to work from home. The move comes as the country battles a surge in coronavirus cases, which has pushed its weak health system to the limit.
COVID-19 cases confirmed from the last 72 hours is 302 cases, 65 hospitalizations, 15 deaths. I insist on saying that this is institutional number from COVID patients' deaths in hospitals, but more people may have died at home elsewhere. If there is not a lower number after the 8 days measures, we will have to take very drastic measures in the coming days.
And the Bolivian President, Luis Arce, received the first dose of the Russian Sputnik V vaccine against COVID-19 this Monday, as he urged the population to get vaccinated. The immunization of the over 50s began in Bolivia on May the 30th. The president, aged 57, opted to wait his turn according to the schedule to receive his first dose. As of May 23rd, over 1.3 million doses of the Sputnik V, Sinopharm, AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines had been administered in the country, of which almost 1.1 million were first doses. The Indian country has thus applied 11.75 doses per 100 inhabitants and ranks 8th in South America in terms of its vaccination against COVID-19.
We are being vaccinated. We intended to be the last to get vaccinated, but I think this is a signal to the population to go to vaccination centers and receive the first dose to get vaccinated.
The government of Argentina announced on Monday that the country has received over 1.6 million vaccines against COVID-19 in the last 2 days, in the midst of a 9-day strict confinement to control a new wave of infections. A shipment of 843,000 doses arrived from the United States, the first shipment of the AstraZeneca vaccine using an active ingredient originally produced in Argentina, then sent for packaging in the U.S. before arriving back in Buenos Aires. A total of 22.4 million doses of the vaccine have been purchased by the country. In addition, a shipment arrived on Monday from Russia with almost 610,000 doses of Sputnik V, which join another 204,000 AstraZeneca shots that arrived on Sunday as part of the World Health Organization's COVAX mechanism.
Receiving the first 843,600 doses from AstraZeneca. These doses have been, the active component has been developed in the country, was packaged in Mexico and in the United States and has just arrived. What's arriving in the course of the next days and weeks will allow us to get closer to vaccinating the first part of the target population, which was estimated at 15 million people.
On Monday, Japan deployed military doctors and nurses to vaccinate elderly people in Tokyo and Osaka in an attempt to speed up the vaccination campaign and curb coronavirus infections with just 2 months to go before the Olympic Games. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is determined to hold the Tokyo Olympics after a year-long postponement and has made an ambitious promise to have the country's 36 million elderly people vaccinated by the end of July. Concerns about the public safety while many Japanese remain to be vaccinated have led to widespread protests and calls to cancel the Games, which are due to begin on July 23rd. At the 2 mass vaccination centers operated by the Japan Self-Defense Forces, the goal is to vaccinate up to 10,000 people a day in Tokyo and another 5,000 a day in Osaka over the next 3 months. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, at least 20 people were killed, many are missing, and thousands forced to flee after a volcanic eruption near the eastern city of Goma. While hundreds of homes were buried, the city of Goma, half to some 2 million people, was spared when the lava downfall from the Mount Nyiragongo stopped short of reaching the urban area. The initial number of victims is likely to grow as families are reporting missing relatives. Thousands fled on foot into neighboring Rwanda. In 2002, an eruption left 250 people dead and 120,000 homeless. The Minister of Health promised quick solutions, but victims are not so sure.
We are here in support of the provincial authorities to give and find solutions. The reason we came here on the ground to observe the state of the situation, it's a shame, catastrophic, but the will is certain. We will find a solution very quickly. We are here in support of the provincial authorities to give and find solutions.
I can't go alone. We've been married for the best and for the worst. I went back to at least try to get him out, but couldn't. I ran away and he got burned inside. I don't know what to do. I curse this day.
And we have more stories coming up after this final short break, so stay with us.
Innovation, science, the technological breakthrough, and its influence in society.
Viajeros del saber, el futuro está aquí.
Atomen. Monday, only on teleSUR. Who's moving the chessmen? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? The board is deployed there. Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday. Only on teleSUR.
En un mundo en constante movimiento, todos los días se generan nuevos sucesos y es necesario conocerlos. Nos preguntamos, ¿qué hay detrás de cada acontecimiento? ¿Cuáles son las consecuencias y cómo nos afectan? Ante estas preguntas, buscaremos poner el punto en la I.
Dot in the I. Saturday, only on teleSUR.
Una travesía para descubrirnos. Buscamos conexiones perdidas.
No nos queda otra que luchar, porque no tenemos nada que perder.
Realmente es por todos.
Recorremos el mundo con Reportajes teleSUR.
Saturdays, only on teleSUR.
Follow the most important global events through a comprehensive perspective. With a team of journalists in 25 locations around the world to convey our people's reality. From the South. Weekdays. Only on teleSUR.
We share your feelings, exalt your accomplishments, and show your reality. Our approach is global and keeps us in tune with the peoples. Caribbean countries also get our signal. With enthusiasm, we will continue to broadcast for them. Because we are teleSUR, the news broadcaster from South America and the Caribbean. The life is full of moments. Moments of fight. Moments of hope. Moments that transcend. Moments that you can live in. teleSUR documentaries. Sundays, only on teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. On Monday, Israeli police launched an operation of mass arrest of Palestinian citizens following 2 weeks of protests against Israeli settlement policies in occupied East Jerusalem and the bombardment of the Gaza Strip. A plan approved by the Minister of Internal Security and the Commissioner of Israeli Police includes the arrest of 500 Palestinians under Operation Law and Order. Over 1,500 people have already been arrested since May the 9th. The 48 hours arrest campaign is allegedly aimed at targeting criminal elements. Israel has mobilized thousands of police officers from all districts and units, including the border police, to carry out this arrest. The director of the Legal Center for Arab Minority Rights in Israel, Hassan Jabarin, criticized the arrest campaign as a war against Palestinian demonstrators, political activists, and minors. And Palestinian children lit candles during a rally amid the ruins of buildings destroyed by Israeli strikes in the northern Gaza Strip this Monday, as a show of solidarity with those who lost their homes. Despite the ceasefire announced late last week, after 11 days of deadly airstrikes by the occupying Israeli regime, the attacks on Palestinians continue, both within the occupied territories and in Israel itself.
Children here in northern Gaza came to show solidarity with the residents of this area, which was destroyed by the occupation aircraft. They came lighting candles and carrying Palestinian flags to announce their adherence to a decent and safe life.
Factory owners in Gaza are hoping for compensation after factories in the industrial zone were targeted in the recent Israeli bombardments, dealing a further setback to any dreams of the blockaded territory's economic development. As the poverty-stricken coastal territory struggles to rebuild once again, local businesses have called for Israel to compensate them for yet more damage. In the final hours of the latest 11-day military escalation, Israeli artillery fire rained down on Thursday on an industrial zone outside Gaza City, in what residents said was a last attempt to inflict maximum damage. Factories in Gaza have long produced furniture, plastic pipes for water and sewage networks, soft drinks and sweet tea biscuits. Several were damaged and some completely destroyed in the airstrikes.
In 2014, and we lost $170,000. And now, after the 2021 bombing, the losses exceed $1 million, creating more poverty in the Palestinian economy. We hope that the situation will improve, but we are tired of war every 5 years, and the destruction of what was built has exhausted us. We are waiting for compensation because the factory needs to be rebuilt, and we must wait for compensation. All our money is invested in this factory based on the fact that it is a safe place.
British police are struggling to end the protest at an Israeli weapons factory in Leicester, England. Activists have occupied the drone manufacturing facility's roof since May 19th. Members of Palestine Action, made up of groups and activists that are taking direct action to end complicity with Israel apartheid, climb up to the roof of the facility belonging to the UAV Tactical System, a subsidiary of Israel weapons manufacturers Elbit Systems and French firm Thales UK, and also barricaded gates to the site to prevent any more British-made drones being sent to commit atrocities in Gaza. Police have been working with private security personnel to end the direct action, as hundreds of people came out in support of the occupation of Elbit's Leicester facility on May 20th, when 2 supporters were reportedly arrested and aiding and abetting aggravated trespass after they gave food and water to Palestine Action of the roof. Local firefighters were also called to scene but refused to against the protesters, with the Leicester Fire Brigades Union issuing a statement in solidarity with the activists. The government of Belarus described as unfounded the accusations of several Western countries regarding the diversion of a Ryanair passenger, the plane, to Minsk after receiving a bomb warning. Belarusian Foreign Minister Vladimir Mackay stressed that the response of Western politicians to this situation is a planned provocation. Meanwhile, ministry spokesperson Anatoly Glass stated that the procedure was carried out in full compliance with the established international norms, following a distress signal sent by the aircraft. He also accused Western countries of making unfounded accusations about the incident for political reasons. In this regard, the government of Belarus invited all interested parties to participate in the investigation into the bomb warning that diverted the plane flying from Athens to Vilnius. And confusion now reigns in the African nation of Mali, where the military put an interim president, prime minister, and defense minister under arrest. All three officials were taken to a military base in Kari, outside the capital Bamako, sources told foreign journalists. The move followed a cabinet reshuffle on Monday in which two key army officers, the defense and security minister, had lost their positions in favor of civilians. In August 2020, a military coup put an interim government in place, promising a gradual return to civilian rule and elections in February 2022. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, you can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For Telesur English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.